Hey everyone, and happy Cyber Monday to those who celebrate. Because it is a special holiday for us today, that means nothing. It really means absolutely nothing. We're not selling anything except for ourselves and our advice. We're here to help you win and to figure out what's what in the world of fantasy football. And we're going to break down what already just went down for the end of last week and what's going to happen now that week 14 is here. And not just because it's a holiday, because it's a Monday, because every day is a special day when Keith is with us. How's it going, Keith?
Doing great. Just some craziness for week 13 and ready to get into week 14, clinch some playoff spots. Some are already clinched on my end. So looking forward to a good week this week and hopefully a good game tonight.
Yeah, that's right. We still have a little bit of action going on tonight, but a lot that just went down in week 13. And then, Chris, I'll direct it to your fancy teams to distract from my records this year. How we're looking playoff wise?
I got one team that's already locked up, hoping to get a bye. I got another team, a couple other teams that are fighting. I have a bunch of dynasty teams that aren't in it. Hopefully we'll get 3 teams through this year.
Yeah, crazy. The dynasty team, the end game team that we co-manage, the dynasty superflex team that won the championship last year, looking like the Raiders these days, looking ahead to the number 1 pick, which not coincidentally is the same team where we have Christian McCaffrey. Did not help this year. I think that's a perfect segue to lead into the big news. And just maybe a lot of y'all haven't even heard. This just happened. This was a double whammy. Kind of out of nowhere. I'll be honest, I didn't get to watch the end of last night's game because I was busy doing the waiver wire video. And Chris, you're busy editing, doing the panic video and all this. So we knew CMC got hurt, or everybody saw that. Shocker, right? Like this was coming. But Jordan Mason, seemingly out of nowhere, not only hurt, but also on IR. Season over for both of those guys. So scratch what I said about Jordan Mason being the top pickup on waiver wire and just substitute with Isaac Guerrero. But Keith, this isn't that simple. Are you even interested, or should I say all in on Isaac Guerrero? Or are we just going to stay away from this 49er offense because it's cursed?
Honestly, I am starting to feel like we got a little bit of a curse going on here. I don't know if the 49ers just disrespected some burial ground somewhere or what's going on. I mean, curse of Madden's clearly a thing, but yeah, I mean, I would definitely drop Fab on Guerrero for sure, but at the same point, I'm not sure if I want to necessarily drop all of it in a situational thing because, I mean, we've got Guerrero. He's a rookie. He's, for the most part, unproven. He's got one good game against Dallas so far this year. You also have to think that the 49ers will either elevate Patrick Taylor or sign somebody to kind of give him some company. But the 49ers also look like a broken team overall. You saw the fight leave the 49ers. Pretty much as soon as CMC went down, you saw the fight just evaporate out of the 49ers. It just turned to dust. And that's even including like Kyle Shanahan all the way down. This team looks very, very lost. I mean, the matchups, the one thing saving Guerrero and the 49ers is that the matchups for him are pretty good rest of the season until they get to week 17 and you get Detroit. But he's got good matchups. I would definitely drop a good amount of Fab or a number 1 waiver claim on Guerrero, but you also might be in a situation where you may not necessarily have to do that. But I do feel if Guerrero's are going to be available in almost all redraft leagues. So if he's out there, you're hurting your wide receiver, let's say, or running back. Let's say you got Eckler or J.K. Dobbins or CMC or Mason. Good fill in.
Yeah, and Chris and I, we got a ton of questions about Juwan Jennings, mainly Debo to some extent, CMC. We said no a lot, Chris. Are you just tempted to just say no across the board from here on out?
No, I think if you need Guerrero, like you lost CMC, and maybe you had Mason, or you lost Dobbins, or maybe you're just not strong at running back. I'm dropping it all. I'm getting Guerrero. There's 4 weeks left. Like, you know what I mean? And every game is basically a must win now. There's no like, well, maybe in a couple weeks somebody else will put, like, you lose week 15, it's see you next year. So yeah, like, is Guerrero going to be a direct CMC replacement? Of course not. But this guy has jets, and we've seen other guys like Elijah Mitchell. You get a guy with jets in this offense, and yeah, he might only run for 3 yards a carry on 15 of his carries, but on the 16th one, he goes 70 yards for a touchdown. So it's all good. You don't care. I just think, you have to go all in on Guerrero. I'm not ready to just bail on Jennings and Debo. I mean, if you remember, like, okay, Debo hasn't been great, but Jennings was really good with Brock Purdy this year. And I'm not going to take anything from what I saw Sunday night and project forward. I mean, San Francisco in Buffalo with it dumping snow the whole game. Like, of course they were going to struggle. Like, you know what I mean? And so do I think the 49ers are going to, like, make the playoffs or anything? No, but I still think Jennings will be okay. And maybe Debo will be okay too. And of course, Kittle, I think, will still be fine. But I do think Guerrero will also, like, probably be maybe one of the few running back waiver wire saviors that we see this year.
Yeah, well, on the Guerrero front, I definitely agree. Again, how many running backs that now are basically going to be like a bell cow, because who else is mixing in with him now? With Mason and CMC both gone, he's going to get enough touches to have a lot of value. So I do think he just immediately swaps out with Jordan Mason as the number one waiver wire claim, period. And I'm putting a claim, just like I said with Mason, in the video, I'm putting a claim in for him whether I need him or not, whether I had CMC or not, so somebody else doesn't get him. So I have that depth, because it is possible, hypothetically, a different running back does get hurt. So it's like, this is why you have these guys on stash just in case. So I agree with that. As far as the passing game of the Niners offense as a whole, I'm kind of torn. It's like, I agree. I don't want to just completely give up on Jennings and, like, dropping Debo and things like that. But you got to look at two things. First of all, yes, they are still in it. Despite losing 3 straight, the Niners could still make the playoffs. They probably want to make the playoffs. They're not going to just roll over. But then I look at the schedule just for the passing game with a Brock Purdy, who's probably not 100% still. The Bears, the Rams, at Miami and Detroit, those are some tough pass defenses. The Rams, not so much, but still, it's not going to be necessarily easy sledding. So I feel like Jennings and Debo are still just basically flexes, right? There's like Jalen Waddle territory, basically. Like,
come on, Jalen Waddle's not even a flex.
I mean, what has Debo done? Debo's been worse than Jalen Waddle over the past month.
Well, because Jalen Waddle had one nice game, which is,
I'll put Debo in that crowd. I'm not putting Jennings in that list yet. Jennings is still getting targets at least, so.
All right, Jennings, maybe. Okay, high-end flex. I mean, we'll see. We'll see when I do the start sits. But, I think Brock Purdy would drop a ball if he's not a super flex league. I'll say that. So crazy times. And then, sadly, also a bit of fond, or maybe not, farewell. I don't know. I hate to say it, but we might be a little bit relieved that we don't have to answer any more Taysom Hill questions the rest of the season. It's bittersweet, is it not?
Yeah, I feel like we might have cursed Taysom Hill by saying, like, fine, start Taysom Hill, start him, and then this happens. But yeah, it'll be. I mean, you would think, like, okay, ACL, obviously season over. 35 years, going to be 35 years old. Like, this is going to be it for Taysom Hill, right? But it probably won't be it for Taysom Hill. I'm sure he'll be back doing Taysom Hill things, because that's just who Taysom Hill is.
Yeah, it's a damn shame about the injury, because I do think he would have been rock solid as a tight end going forward for at least the rest of this year. The Saints still have absolutely no weapons on offense. A combined 8 targets to all their wide receivers this past week. They're not going to throw out of the single digits to it's only going to be single digits to their wide receivers pretty much rest of the year until Olave comes back. And even then, we don't know whether or not he's going to or not. Yeah, real shame about Taysom Hill. Because, next year everybody should be back healthy. They shouldn't need to rely on him so much. But coming back from 35 with an ACL is also a massive tough ask.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's cursed seems to be the Saints. Anybody that Derek Carr throws the ball to, I mean, who hasn't got hurt? I mean, I know he's thrown a couple of hospital balls, but they're not all his faults. Like, I don't think this was his fault. We can't put it on him as much as we want to. But I don't know what's going on there. They're definitely cursed. But look, I will say this: those carries were vacated. We don't do beat the breakout anymore because it's a little late for stashing. But next week, I actually have to talk about Kendre Miller. I don't know, he's going to be the backup running back there, and they could use all the help they can get. But yeah, Taysom Hill is no more, unfortunately. Trevor Lawrence, be surprised he even survived that hit yesterday. Doug Peterson says he's okay, but doesn't mean he's going to be okay for week 14. So what does this mean as far as the Jags go? Mac Jones, Keith, your former Patriot there, he wasn't too shabby in the second half.
I think that's got more to do with the Texans just not being all that great a team. I think they are one of the biggest frauds in the AFC. Top to bottom, and letting Mac Jones come back on you in a game that you desperately needed to win is a sign of things are not going to be going well for the Texans, I think, going forward. I think this is a team that's probably going to make the playoffs and lose their first game. We'll see them out wild card weekend. Mac Jones, he can sometimes pass off as a halfway decent quarterback. It's a mirage. I'm not falling for it. If he's playing with BTJ this week, might have to discount some or consider BTJ a flex or not start him if options allow me to do that.
Yeah, we already saw this, unfortunately, earlier in the year, and it wasn't good for Brian Thomas. And now they got to play the Titans. Man, not good for the Jags. But I guess on the plus side, if there is a plus side, it is a concussion. So maybe, I doubt T-Lock clears this week. You never know, but maybe he could be cleared by next week, and we only have to suffer through one week of Mac Jones, hopefully.
Let's hope so. Again, just when it looked like BTJ was on the comeback trail, right, back to relevance. Did come through last week, but this hurts. But again, gotta look at the schedule going forward. This is where it really starts to matter a whole lot. It's not that great for the Jags really the next month. It's just no easy matchups for them. Okay, so we can't break down everything that happened yesterday because there was a lot and throughout the week, but let's do this. Let's go through some of the players that had some surprising performances, for better or for worse, and we're going to decide are they for real or not. And then let's talk about some players that, I don't know, should we call this ready for the dustbin? Are they dusted? Trust or dust? I don't know. We can come up with something like that. All right.
Trust or dust. I like it.
Like that? Yeah. We can incorporate the dust meter. And you know who's first on that list. But let's start with the guy who's absolutely not washed, and that is Adam Thielen. All right. Chris, you doubted. You doubted. You weren't feeling Thielen. He came through, but are you feeling him again? You think he can continue to?
I think he probably can in the right matchups. It's like unfortunate that, we don't have to talk about Taysom Hill anymore, but now we're going to have to talk about Adam Thielen every week. It's like there's just certain guys that just will not go away. Like they just won't go away. And now it's Adam Thielen. But I mean, look, he came through. That was a good matchup for him. This week it's the Eagles. I don't know. Like, I think Thielen is going to be one of those guys, and Bryce Young too, to some degree, because Bryce Young's been pretty good. I think, in certain matchups, sure, but in certain matchups, nope. And this will probably be one of those weeks where I pass.
Agreed. I do like Adam Thielen going forward. This may be a rough week for him, but I also think that there is even just like flex material out of Thielen this week because he's going to get peppered with targets no matter what. I don't think the Eagles are going to be capable of shutting him down. Sure, a stat line of 5 catches for 30 yards wouldn't shock me, but Bryce Young and Adam Thielen both look. I mean, Adam Thielen's old, definitely on the dusty side, but he's that security blanket that just won't go away. He's been a long time vet in the league. He knows how to score points. He knows how to come down with the football. And Bryce Young is looking really, really good these days. He's making throws that last year he would not be able to make whatsoever. His decision-making's good. He's holding on to the football for less time. He's looking like he may not be a complete bust, unlike last year. So it looks like the Dave Canales magic. It's taken a while, but we're starting to see the magic come in.
It's, the patience is the thing of the past. It just does not exist anymore. But it's crazy how a rookie quarterback, or even in this case, a guy who basically was robbed of his rookie year through horrible coaching and incompetent franchise like, Carolina is, with a new coach in place, yeah, it took half a season. Now he's starting to come around. That leads us to another guy, Caleb Williams. 5 games in, he was a massive bust. That's it. This guy sucks, right? But lo and behold, when you put a new offensive coordinator in there and give him actually more than half a season worth of experience, he looks a little different. So maybe he's not a bust. So how far are you going as with Caleb Williams? I mean, of course, in fantasy terms here. And let's talk about the receivers too. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Chris, we had him as solid starts. Do we have to keep moving him up here, bumping him up?
I don't think I'm going to bump him out of the solid tier unless it's just an absolute, smash matchup, which it really isn't this week. I believe they play the 49ers this week. But I think we got to say they're solid. They're getting the targets. Caleb Williams looks good. Ever since Thomas Brown took over, the offense has been much better. So I think they're going to stay solid starts for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Caleb Williams has looked a lot better since the new OC took over, and now he's the head coach. Amazing how fast you can progress in the NFL in 3 weeks. But we're seeing Caleb develop as a passer. He's still holding on to the ball far too long, but we're seeing him run. We're seeing him throw down the field. We're seeing him connect with his wide receivers. They're gelling, and they don't really I don't think the Bears have a single bad matchup rest of the season. I think most of their matchups are at least halfway decent to good. As far as where I'd put him, I would say he is a streaming option. Maybe even a low-end QB1 if you've got someone on the buy-apocalypse this week. But yeah, if Caleb is out there in even one QB league, so I'd go get him just in case. If you've got an opponent maybe that you need to beat, sweet. Pick up Caleb Williams so they don't have him.
I'm totally good with that. Playing defense on the waiver wire, always a nice move. But I agree. I think you talk about the schedule. It's not bad at all. Maybe not a lot of cupcakes, like the Jacksonville, Tampa types for secondaries. But you look at the 49ers, that's looking like a pretty good matchup these days. That defense has been, ravaged by injury, of course, with Bosa and Warner not 100%. They've given up a lot of points, and that offense is not the same. So I like him. I don't mind starting him, even streaming him this week. And another rookie, I think it's pretty obvious he's for real, Bucky Irving. I said this. I posted on Blue Sky. I just want to say skeet. League winners that you could have picked up off a waiver wire. Caleb Williams, I think, is going to be one. He could be one if you didn't have an absolute stud quarterback, which there are not that many of these days. I think Bucky Irving is number one running back on the list. It would have been Jordan Mason, RFP. But Chris, do you agree? Could Bucky Irving actually be a league winner down the stretch?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Have you seen the Bucs schedule? I know you have. Yes, that'd be Bucky Irving. I think the only matchup that is even remotely tough for the Bucs the rest of the season is, I think, the Chargers in Week 15, and that doesn't even scare me. He looks so good. Yeah, Chargers Week 15. He gets Raiders, Cowboys, Panthers, the other three matchups, and we just saw what he did to the Panthers. Yeah, but Bucky Irving looks great. Yeah, he definitely probably going to be a league winner this year for sure.
Yeah, I think the other thing you got to be encouraged by was his usage in the receiving game. 2 straight weeks, he's caught more balls than Rachaad White.
Yep.
I don't think, Rachaad White is clearly the 2 in this backfield. And honestly, White gets more usage when the Bucs are behind. And other than the Chargers, who might put up a competitive game, I don't see the Bucs falling behind to any of these teams. I mean, even the Panthers, they looked impressive, but we just saw what Bucky did to them, and that should probably continue next week. Maybe they the week they play them. Bucky should see some. There's not a single matchup here that scares me at all. As long as the Bucs don't implode on offense, they should be in good shape.
Agree. No reason not to think that. We've seen enough now. He's legit. And then we have to bring this up. I know he's not going to be a league winner, but Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, the question really is will he now go again without scoring a touchdown? That's the only question.
I guess not. What did I see this stat right? He has 20 catches this year and 8 touchdowns.
That is correct.
Wow. I can't wait till next year when everybody talks themselves into Nick Westbrook-Ikhine as a good late round pick and he scores 0 touchdowns. But this year, I guess it's going to happen.
Yeah, I do think you can. I think you can rely on Nick Westbrook-Ikhine about as much as you can rely on MVS. They both are kind of in similar situations. They both have quarterbacks that'll throw deep balls. They'll throw a ton. I don't think, obviously, the touchdown efficiency is not going to continue. But at the same point, it's the Titans that we saw this past week. The Titans absolutely get embarrassed if another team pulls that off. It's not going to be pretty. But yeah, with Westbrook-Ikhine, I'd comfortably put him in a flex pretty much any week, especially if I think the Titans are going to be either in a shootout or if I think they're going to be down, which most weeks they're going to be.
Agree with that. It's funny, we have some more to talk about. Some people are asking their questions. Thinking this is not a live stream. It's not pre-recorded. Messi is the GOAT, whatever. Yeah, so we'll be answering your questions pretty soon. I always love that when it's live and it says live and like, this is not live. It's live.
Actually,
okay.
What they don't know, though, the irony is that we actually pre-recorded that. We knew somebody would comment about it, and we pre-recorded that too. That's how good we are.
Exactly. At the 23-minute mark. All right. Now let's do the flip side. Trust or dust? Here it is. Kirk Cousins. And you know what? Despite the age difference, let's throw Kyle Pitts in there because, man, Kyle Pitts, besides doing nothing, he wasn't on the field even the whole time. Charlie Werner, I think the backup tight end, was in there. And I did see something along the lines of this is not too unusual when they're, running ahead. They tend to have the blocking tight end more. So that way, it helps the run game. Kyle Pitts maybe was taken out because of game script, whatever. It doesn't matter. It should not matter. If you're a generational talent tight end and you're Kyle Pitts, I mean, come on. You can't stay on the field because you're not losing and you have to pass. Okay, but let's talk Kirk Cousins. I mean, is it Michael Penix time?
Ooh, I doubt it because they invested so much in Cousins, but it's certainly not Kirk Cousins or Kyle Pitts time in any of my fantasy teams. That's for sure. Like that was a disaster. I don't think you can even in Superflex. I would have a hard time starting Kirk Cousins, honestly.
I'm a little more on the trust side when it comes to Kirk Cousins. He's had a few weeks of tougher matchups. I don't think it's going to be the usual of him seeing no touchdowns and 4 picks. I'm definitely concerned about Kyle Pitts, though. If he is your main tight end, I think I would be looking to stream at this point because we don't, in any given week, we don't know who the third receiving option is going to be. Is it going to be Kyle Pitts or is it going to be Ray McCloud? We don't know. There's no way really to know that 100%. But the other thing, too, is Warner is on the field more. They use him a lot more in run blocking schemes, which I guess Warner ranks as one of the top, if not the top blocking tight end on PFF. And Kyle Pitts is in the bottom 10 for blocking tight end. So he's not going to see the field nearly as much as the other 3 wide receivers are. So he's already kind of in a little bit of a rut there. But, with Cousins, I'm not streaming him in a 1 QB league, 2 QB Superflex, sure. Pitts, though, got to look for streaming options.
Yeah. There's no way you can keep rolling Kyle Pitts out there if it's the fantasy playoffs. Technically, the next 2 matchups should be better in terms of potential usage and game script and all that, but it shouldn't come down to that. There's way too much risk of him giving you nothing like he just did. Okay, so to that end, also, it should have been a smash spot for Chuba Hubbard. He did not smash. So are we all of a sudden, after that's it, he's the workhorse. You know, we can drop Jonathan Brooks. Things maybe done changed a little bit, but do you think things will actually continue to change, Keith, or is it just, one game?
I think we have to be a little concerned here. Jonathan Brooks, we thought he was dead last week. This week, he definitely got enough usage to sting Hubbard. The work in the receiving game is probably the most concerning. Hubbard didn't get a single target, I believe. Whereas Brooks, he got 3 passes. So we might see him more involved in passing down work, which will limit Hubbard's upside. Not really a lot you can do, but I would say Brooks is definitely a guy you can pick up and stash. Maybe he becomes a worthy handcuff. I wouldn't expect to start him every week, but he's a guy who's going to be in the thorn of the side of Chuba for sure. And I think these guys going forward are going to be kind of limit each other's upside. And I think we're going to see a kind of Whites and Bucky situation here in Carolina.
Yeah, I think you got to be nervous. I mean, it wasn't just definitely got to be nervous because of the pass catching, but also Jonathan Brooks got the only carries near the goal line yesterday. So you got to be worried that we're going to see more and more Jonathan Brooks and that, workhorse Chuba Hubbard, probably a thing of the past.
Very sad. I just put him in the circle of trust as one of the top running backs for the fantasy playoffs. Not sure anymore. Again, the schedule is still really good for them, but it's something to keep an eye on for sure. And then what about Breece Hall, who honestly has been disappointing most of the season? I mean, I know he was on the injury report, right? The soreness, whatever. I don't think it's just that. It can't just be that, because that was a new thing this week, and he had been disappointing even before this week.
Yeah, and he still ran for 5 yards per carry, so it wasn't like he was bad. They just gave, Braylon Allen touches, and Isaiah Davis got touches. Like, who? I think the most concerning thing for me, though, is Breece Hall, no targets. Like, why is Breece Hall not getting any targets? Like, maybe the most concerning thing is actually Aaron Rodgers. That might be the most concerning thing here, honestly. But yeah, this whole Jets offense is a mess. I think I'm just all the way out in this Jets offense now.
I'm with you. I mean, I do think the injury is something to monitor. I almost guarantee you Breece Hall will miss practice on Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, I guess we'll see what's going on with him. But, the fact that Davis got carries, got looks, I think I want to avoid the Jets as much as humanly possible for fantasy going forward because, yikes, 3-man. three's a crowd. You don't want to see three-headed backfields anywhere. And whenever you do, bad things happen.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on the just not wanting a part of the Jets. You know, there's certain offenses you just want to try to steer clear from. And yeah, the Jets are one. And then let's finish with this one before we get to the questions. We have some questions people want to know about tonight's game, and ready for week 14. What is going on with Kenneth Walker? Because he's kind of been quietly bad, meaning he hasn't flopped. He doesn't get as much attention not being in New York, right? He wasn't drafted as high as Breece Hall. He's been pretty ineffective for over a month now. I think he's averaging less than 3 yards per carry over the past 5 games. And there doesn't seem to be any real reason behind this, at least not that I know of. It's not like he's showing up on the injury report every week either. So what is going on here?
That's a good question. I don't really know what's going on here. It's weird. And we saw in this past game, we saw Charbonnet get like the run close to the goal line with the touchdown. I mean, he's still getting like 16. He had 16 carries. He had 2 catches. It's just, he just hasn't looked good. Like, the efficiency isn't there anymore. I don't know what happened. This is one of those guys that like you could count on for that. And it just hasn't been there recently. So yeah, I really don't know. It's really weird. I almost feel like this is 2 years in a row where Kenneth Walker just started so hot in the season and then just faded down the stretch. Maybe there's something to this.
There might be something to it, but I'm more concerned about the usage overall here. And like, I feel like the Seahawks are just kind of this blah vanilla offense, but yeah, the usage for Walker is definitely alarming. Only one finish in the top 24 running backs for over the past month. It's not looking pretty over there. And this week we saw him get vultured by Charbonnet. Going forward, I'm not sure if I can really trust Walker as anything more than a flex option rest of the season.
That's the big question: is do you just keep putting him in your lineup because it's one of those guys you shouldn't have to think about, but you might need to think twice now. But we'll take it on the week-by-week basis for him because there's no compelling reason to just bench him. But he hasn't really given you a whole lot of reasons to want to start him. That's what makes it so difficult. And that's why we have the questions. But we're going to get to your questions first. Before we do that, I do have to let you know about Underdog. I know a lot of you are already on, but there's a free pick that you can get for some of you who might be new, just joining in. If you haven't tried Underdog yet, or maybe you just haven't joined for whatever reason, you've been waiting. Well, this is your time to put Jameis Winston in your pick'ems, right? Jameis Winston just gets 1 yard tonight. You win that pick. That's a free pick. He goes higher than 0.5 total yards. New customers get this. So if you sign up on Underdog and use code ENDGAME, you get the free pick. You also get some free cash, up to $1,000, in fact, worth of bonus cash for your first deposit. They will match half of it. So the free pick, some free cash. What's not to like? And don't worry, NFL season, I know it's not going to last forever, but you can do pick'ems for NBA, NHL, baseball when that starts. That's right. Ready. Since I'm soon to check out for all my leagues that I'm not winning in, why not just dive into baseball research, right? Let's get into that. But whatever sport you like, Underdog has picks for them. So sign up now. Make sure you use code ENDGAME to get all the free stuff. And then I also need to remind you about Draft Lane. You can use this app anytime when we are not live or pre-recorded. You can use this app. It's a free download from the App Store or the Google Play Store, and it connects you directly with us. You ask the questions, and we will answer them. So download for free today. All right, let's get to the comments, questions, whatever you got for us. So Cody is back. Cody's always back. After a hard-fought Thanksgiving weekend,
Hard-fought
to say, took down the top team in the league and slaughtered them like a turkey.
I was going to say hard-fought. You won by 70. Those are the best kind of victories where it's like the Sunday early games are over and you already know you won and you just kick back and relax the rest of the Sunday. You're like, I already won.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's a Thanksgiving slaughter. That's pretty nice. It always feels good to take down the top team. All right, Moises is first here. Needs a running back. This is an 18 league. Okay. So here's the question: are we going with Garendo, going with Brooks, or Tracy? Apparently, is still out there. Tracy, a guy who looked like he might be a league winner until the last couple of weeks. And then wide receiver question: who to pick up, Keenan or Thielen? Who are you feeling?
I'm going Garendo and Keenan personally. Maybe I'm just too irrationally low on Thielen, but give me the wide receiver attached to Caleb Williams in that Bears offense versus the Panthers. And I think you got to go Garendo. I mean, we had some worries about Tracy last week after the fumbles. He only got 2 more carries than Devin Singletary. He did save his day with that touchdown, but didn't really do a whole lot else outside of that. So I'm going to go Garendo and Keenan.
I'm going with Thielen and Garendo here. I was going to say both those wide receivers are definitely both on the older side, but I think Thielen has the potential to be the security blanket more for Bryce Young than which Keenan Allen also has been, but he also doesn't have DJ Moore with him, along with Roma Dunze either. And yeah, Tracy and Garendo is cool. It's not really all that close. I'm taking Garendo. The upside for him is just off the charts. And Tracy, I think, is going to be sharing that backfield with Singletary as long as the fumbling issues persist.
Well, I'm going to go Garendo for sure, running back, as we've already discussed the reasons to pick him up. And then I'm going to go Keenan at wide receiver, just because I do like his offense a little better, his quarterback a little bit better. I feel like Thielen has a better path to target share, right? He might get more targets, but Keenan just has more upside, and he's scoring touchdowns like regularly now. So Garendo seems to be the consensus choice here. Running back, receiver, it's your call, but you might want to play this on a weekly basis. I will say this week, Adam Thielen, I wouldn't start him because he gets the Eagles. So if you need one for this week, which doesn't seem like you do because you said stash, but maybe go Keenan first. All right, John, lost CMC and Mason. Not a good feeling. So what about RB versus receiver, Garendo or Keenan Allen? Because he also needs a wide receiver.
Well, if you need a wide receiver for week 14, then obviously you should probably get Keenan Allen. But if you don't need to win week 14, like let's say you already have the bye locked up, or maybe you're in like 5th place and you can't fall out of the playoffs and you can't get the bye, then I would look more ahead towards the playoffs and what you're going to need more in the playoffs. So John, I guess the answer is it depends. If you have to win this week, you got to get Keenan. Because if this is a must win and you don't win, it doesn't matter if you have Isaac Garendo the rest of the season. It's doing you no good. But if you don't need to win this week, either like you're already in a playoff spot and you can't, get a bye, or you already have a bye locked up, then I would just get Garendo. And if you lose this week, you lose this week.
Chris pretty much nailed it. As far as week 14 goes, Keenan's going to get you that more stable floor this week. Garendo will be fine, but if you need a wide receiver and you need a win this week, then you obviously got to go with win now. But if you've already got the playoffs locked up, especially if you've got a bye locked up, Garendo easily over Keenan Allen.
Right. This will come down to your roster and your depth, and who's more likely, I would say, to make your starting lineup not just this week, but going forward. If you already have 2-3 running backs that you feel good enough about that are at least as good or better than Garendo, then go Keenan Allen, seeing as how you need them. All right, Jay, 1364, rest of the season. Ingram or Laporta?
Oh, man. Keith, you answer this first. I don't want to answer this.
I will. The thing with Laporta is he got 2 touchdowns, but he also had 3 catches for 6 yards, so it was not exactly an encouraging sight. But then the other guy might have Mac Jones throwing to him. If it's half PPR, I think Laporta's got the touchdown upside that Ingram just doesn't have. So I think I'd lean slightly Laporta, but I'm not feeling great about either of these tight ends at the moment. And yeah, feeling definitely a strong start other than this week.
Yeah, this is not, unfortunately, one of my strongest teams has Evan Ingram, and I was like, okay, we're set there, and now we're not so set there. We don't know how long Trevor Lawrence is going to be out. Probably this week. There's a chance he's back. It's not like he has a history of concussion, so there's a chance he's back, the week after, which is your fantasy playoffs. If that's the case, like if Trevor Lawrence is healthy, I want Evan Ingram over Laporta. Yes, I know it's hard to look at Laporta last week and think 2 touchdowns. But like he said, if he doesn't score those 2 touchdowns, he gets you 3 catches for 6 yards. Like you get nothing. You get basically nothing from Laporta. So I'm going to reluctantly say Ingram because I'm going to gamble on the fact that Trevor Lawrence will be back by week 15.
I'm going to way oversimplify this. I'm going to take the guy on the best team in the NFC, not the worst team in the AFC. I'm tired of the Jaguars offense in general and having to rely on this, and Trevor Lawrence is out and whatever. Ingram's upside is just so limited right now. Give me the guy who at least can score a touchdown as opposed to Ingram, who is scoring 0 touchdowns. And I will say Laporta over the past, I think, 5 games, his target share has climbed a lot since the beginning of the year, even with Jameson Williams back the last couple of weeks. But yeah, I'll just go with Laporta here. And then Thielen, strong start with favorable matchups. Not a strong start this week. I'm pretty sure we won't have him in that tier, but he should be pretty good going forward. I think it's a little early to go down that route. Don't want to jump the shark. Big man fishing. Evening, made the playoffs. Would you drop Judy for Thielen? I don't know.
I would probably want to see tonight's game before I make that decision. The Broncos aren't exactly they're not a soft defense. So if Judy's still good this week, maybe I hold on to him. But otherwise, I'm thinking that you will want to drop Judy for Thielen. But yeah, let's wait for tonight's game before we make a decision there.
Yeah, Panthers do have the better remaining schedule, so that would give Thielen the edge. But Judy has Jameis Winston. This gives him the edge. We'll see. Let's see how Judy looks tonight.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is pretty close. And like you said, Thielen's got after next week a pretty good schedule. The Browns, I don't know what they did to the schedule makers. They have just the worst schedule possible for pass defenses. It's not only the last 2 weeks, but then going forward. So it could be Thielen, but again, I don't know. This really kind of doesn't matter for week 14 because you're not going to start Thielen. I don't think you want to start Thielen at week 14. So I wouldn't do this yet, I guess, is the answer. Samantha, how's it going? Of course, had a great Thanksgiving. I don't want to speak for everyone else. I'm going to assume Keith had a good Thanksgiving.
Very good, very tasty food. I'm still full from Thanksgiving.
Yes, absolutely. I'm down by 37, but has a lot of Broncos, Nick Sutton, Lutz, and the defense of Denver.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
All in on the Denver Broncos. What did you do during the Broncos bye week? Did you just take the L?
Yeah.
I think you got a good chance here. I mean, if let's say Knicks gets like 18, I assume it's like a 4-point passing touchdown. Let's say he gets like 18. Let's say Sutton gets 15. That's 33 points right there. You're only asking for 4 from a kicker and defense. I think you got a good shot tonight.
Agreed. I think you get 30 out of Nix and Sutton easily. So, yeah, if you're just looking at Lutz and the Denver defense to put up 7 points, I mean, we know Jameis Winston never, ever throws interceptions, ever. So a pick 6, and you're sitting pretty no matter how bad Nix and Sutton might be tonight. So, yeah, I think you got a good shot. Enjoy the game.
Yeah, with that much in it, and again, the Browns defense isn't stopping too many teams. Nix and Sutton lost the defense. Yeah, I think you're good. Yeah, and actually, by the way, so this coming week, you're going to have a lot of holes to fill because this is when the Broncos are going to be on bye. So hope you get the win here. Then
that's right. They haven't been on the bye. Yeah, hopefully this gets you in the playoffs because you're going to have half your team's going to be out next week.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's do this because we do have some super chats. Let's do super chats, and then we'll come back to our members who do have questions, so we don't make anybody wait too long. And by the way, you have some fans as always. Keith, Roberto is in the house, loves the voice, but settle down, Roberto. Let's keep it family friendly. I always have to say that with him. NTY, 10 PPR, Goff, Baker, or Winston. Who do you like?
I think I'd go Baker here. I know Baker was pretty terrible this week, but he gets the Raiders. I think I got to go Baker.
Yeah, Baker for me as well. Which Winston get though? It's the Packers for Goff.
Steelers.
Winston. Or definitely not starting Winston. Give me Baker.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I really wish you could be in on Jameis, but the schedule every week you're like, no, not this week. And you're like, oh, not this week. Like, no, he's not going to be viable basically at all because the schedule. Like Goff has been fine, but he's kind of a victim of the success of the run game here. His upside has been very limited lately. So yeah, I think it's going to be Baker again. Very nice matchup against the Raiders, and then Thielen or Westbrook-Ikine. This is a 10-team PPR league again.
Oh, man.
If this is PPR and you're looking strictly for this week, I would say Westbrook. If you're talking rest of season playoffs, I'd want Thielen. I think he's the better long-term play.
Yeah, I agree. I think this week it's got to be Westbrook-Ikine. They get the Jags. Long-term Thielen, though.
Agree. This week, not Thielen, but long-term, yes, Thielen. And then keep Debo or Hope. Yes, Hope. I don't think anybody here is ditching Debo, even if you don't want to start him. Correct?
Don't ditch Debo. No.
Don't rage drop him, but just realize he's probably got flex potential at this point rather than the wide receiver 2 you picked him up to be.
Yep. All right. Then actually a separate question from NTY. Otten or Muth? And then also questions about Sincere McCormick. Is it worth adding him in a 10-team league?
Not in a 10-teamer. You shouldn't need Sincere McCormick, I hope, in a 10-teamer. I really hope. Man. I feel like Otten just has to be back to being like a streaming option now, but he does get a great matchup. He gets the Raiders this week, but Booth gets the Browns. I don't know. These guys just both feel like streamers who need a touchdown. I might gamble on Otten here against the Raiders.
I'm leading Otten myself. Fryermuth looked great last week, but that's also because it was the Bengals and it was just a massive back and forth offensive slugfest. I don't think that's the normal Fryermuth we're going to see from this past week. I'm going on and waiver the new Raiders RB. Yeah, I'm not. If 10-team, there's got to be better options than Sincere McCormick out there. There's got to be.
Come on, in a 10-teamer, Garendo's got to be out there, right? Yeah, Garendo's got to be out there in a 10-teamer.
You would think. He should be. Yeah. I would say that. Garendo should be out there, and even so, yeah, it's probably too shallow for a guy like Sincere McCormick. I'm gonna go with Fryer with the tight end though, because I don't want to overreact to one game, but this is now 2 games in a row, kind of quietly. He's gone at least over 50 yards, and instead of like 2 catches, he's gotten 4 and 6. And it's just a better matchup for him against that Browns defense, which again, not scary. Kate Otten just has become irrelevant since Mike Evans is back. So I'll go Muth, although it's probably not a huge difference here either way. And then let's get Daniel Hart on here. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. And wants to know his chances about Sutton scoring 35 to make the playoffs. I mean, I hope he does it, but
I hope he does. I'll be rooting for him now because I'm not really facing Sutton anywhere that I care about. So I'll be hoping he does. But man, that is a very big game.
I got a lot of Sutton myself, but yeah, 35 points. That is a big ask. Hope you got either some long scoring bonuses or maybe point per first down along with PPR. But yeah, 35 is a big ask. I don't think your chances are too great. But yeah, good luck in the future and hope to see you again next year.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I know Daniel dropping by basically to say thank you. We appreciate you. Hey, I'll say this also to anybody. We'll say this probably throughout the week. Checking in. Maybe you're not in the playoffs or your season's over. You can still keep up with it because I'll tell you what, probably one of the worst things you can do is just to completely check out and stop following it because a lot of things happen. Some trends happen with players and coaching staffs and things that can lead to next year and helping you your draft strategy. And you learn more about the game and the players. So don't just completely check out, if you know what I mean. So even if you don't have lineup questions, you can still come and hang out. So, but of course, big thank you to you. Now let's see. We also have one from Corey Miller. Here's the question. Needs quarterback for this week. Got Tua, Will Levis, Cooper Rush, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, or Bryce Young. Which of these tempting choices tempt you the most?
For me, this may be I'm torn between Tua and Levis here, which is not a sentence I thought I'd ever say. I think I still got to go Tua. It's a divisional matchup. The Dolphins absolutely need to win. Jets look like a raging dumpster fire, and it's at Miami. Levis gets the Jags. I do think he could potentially go off there, but I would much rather have Tua.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if Levis outscores Tua this week, but at the same time, if this is a must win or if you're fighting for the bye, I really don't want to put Will Levis in my lineup. You know, there's always the risk that Will Levis does Will Levis stuff, and I don't mean throw touchdowns to Nick Westbrook-Ikine. So it's a tough spot for Tua this week, but he's been so good. I think I just roll with Tua.
Yeah, I mean, Will Levis has the best matchup here against Jacksonville, but Tua is definitely the best quarterback on this list for fantasy right now. It's at home. That's the thing. It's in Miami. He should be the best. I will say the dark horse here could be Cooper Rush going against the Bengals because the Bengals have gotten in just shootouts for every game for the past, 4 or 5 games. That defense is like Swiss cheese. They counted, what was it, like 12 missed tackles yesterday?
Yeah.
I mean, they just don't seem to want to stop the opponent, but it's still Cooper Rush. So I would just go to it and not worry about it. And then we do have Sammy. Sammy's always here. Now that the late, great Taysom Hill is down, where do you go at tight end? Got the Scoon. Okay. Juwan Johnson, Austin Hooper, Tommy Tremble, or the great Mike Gesicki. You're giving way too much credit to.
Yeah.
I mentioned Luke Schoonmaker. The only problem there is what if Jake Ferguson is back? It's possible. I would say, I mean, for me, it's obvious. If you watch the video, if Ferguson doesn't play, it's Schoonmaker. But do you agree? And if not, who is it?
Yeah, I do agree. Schoonmaker is number one if Jake Ferguson is out because they get the Bengals, and that's pretty good there. I think next for me, it's between either Juwan Johnson or Patriots don't play this week, do they?
Or yeah, they do not.
No.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, I'm so you can't do Hooper. So Schoonmaker would be my number one. Juwan Johnson would be my number two because now with Taysom Hill out, he's going to be coming. Look, he got 7 targets, 5 catches, 36 yards, and they get the Giants. I know the Giants have been tough against tight ends, but they're not a tough defense necessarily. So Schoonmaker number one, Juwan Johnson number two.
Yeah, the only thing I'm nervous with Schoonmaker about is the fact that it's a Monday night game and Ferguson's out with a concussion. So it's not like, we need to get Ferguson ramped up or maybe it'll be a split. No, it's probably going to be Ferguson if he plays.
Right.
That said, I'm thinking I'm going Juwan Johnson here. Saints don't throw to their wide receivers very much. I think Juwan Johnson's going to be probably the leading receiving option behind Kamara on this team going forward. And the rest, Hooper, I mean, he's not playing. Tremble, I think he's going to split time with Sanders. And Gesicki is always just kind of a dark throw at best.
Yeah, and like you said, the thing with Tremble is he benefited from Sanders being out, but Sanders in the protocol, he could come back. In that case, Tremble, not too interesting. Hooper's out. Gesicki was a little surprising, but not going to buy into that too much. So I think it's Schoonmaker if there's no Ferguson. It's Johnson if there is Ferguson. And then let's go to Cody now. Also dropped another super chat. Pick a defense. From each of these choices, we have 2 sets of defenses here. The first one has Bucks, Titans, Saints, Finns, Jags. The other is Titans, Finns, Seahawks, Saints, Bears. Okay, so let's see. Matchups here. Matchups matter. The Titans do face the Jaguars and potentially Mac Jones. Saints.
Sorry, my bad. I was trying to block this user and there we go. Thank you.
Saints get the Giants with whoever's their quarterback. The Dolphins get the Jets. The Jags get the Titans. The Seahawks get the Cardinals. Probably no. Bears get the Niners.
I think I might just I think it's between. Actually, I might go Titans if it's Mac Jones. Oh man, this is tough. Actually, I'm not high on the Bucs defense this week. I know you say, "Oh, it's the Raiders," but Aiden O'Connell looked pretty good last week, and that Bucs defense does not look very good. I think the Dolphins might be your safest bet at home against the Jets. I also don't mind Saints against Giants, whoever the starting quarterback is there. I mean, how many? I don't know if the Saints have tremendous upside, but they at least have a nice floor.
Yeah, so I am thinking you want the Dolphins. I forget who they get. I did some defense research, and there's really not a lot of good options for the playoffs as far as just a defense that's going to carry you through most of it. That said, I do think the Dolphins are the best defense you have listed here. They have a great matchup against the Jets this week. Titans and Saints, though, are absolutely worth considering. I think the Saints just held Matt Stafford to a very, very low game. And if they can hold the Rams down to low offensive output, I can only imagine what they'll do to Giants with whoever is throwing the football between Drew Lock and Tommy Cutlets. I think I'm going Saints in both of these. If you need a win, If you need somebody that's going to give you a long-term upside, I think I would go Finns.
Yeah. I would probably be too tempted to stream against Mac Jones to say anything other than Titans, so I'll just go them both if that's the case. And the NTY back already clinched the playoffs. Not on bye. For the playoffs, Caleb or Russ? Have Goff and Baker already looking to see if I can improve. So Caleb or Russ down the stretch. We already talked about Caleb's schedule. Russ looks pretty good. His schedule for the next couple of weeks, or I should say after this week, got at Philadelphia, at Baltimore, and then Kansas City. I'll say no.
But here's the thing about Kansas City. They've actually been really bad against QBs this year. And we just saw Aiden O'Connell put up 340 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't know why, but they've been bad against QBs this year. And we know the Ravens defense has looked better, but it still doesn't scare me. But I think I still probably do go Caleb here. He gets Vikings, Lions, who he just torched in the second half, and then Seahawks. So I'll probably slightly go Caleb.
Yeah, I'm going Caleb here as well. Russ, I think, had a one-time little anomaly going on. Other than that, though, besides the matchups we just listed, which all sound pretty rough for Russ, he also so does Caleb, but Russ plays outdoors in particularly bad snowy weather, and we've seen him go up against the Browns and not be all that good there because it was snowing too. I would rather have Caleb, full stop. And yeah, any defenses for the playoffs? Yeah, I kind of mentioned this already. Not a lot of great options out there. If the Bills, for whatever reason, become available, I do like them a ton, but only if you have a bye because they get the Lions, I think, week 15. And yeah, obviously you don't want to start them there. But yeah, the Bills close week 16 and 17 great. So if they become available, go to get them.
Yeah. I'm clearly going Caleb here as well. Brother Pickle is here. Thank you, Brother Pickle. Made exactly one trade this year, and it was a 3-for-2 package, including Pucky for Olave. Wow. Played against Bucky this week. That stings.
Yeah, it does sting.
What can you do? What can you do? Okay. Yeah. This is getting annoying. All right, we got the ban. People really have nothing better to do, huh? Okay.
Yes.
Let's go back to some of the earlier questions from our members, like Gabriel. Is Garendo worth picking up?
Yes.
But
or whoever the San Fran running back is these days. Yes.
Well, the question here, I think, who would you drop to get Garendo?
For me, I'm dropping Algier out of this list. I just don't think he has the pass catching chops that Bijan brings to the table if Bijan were to go down. Braylon Allen's looked all right. I do think we're going to see a committee should Breece Hall go down because, with Isaiah Davis getting involved in there. But, yeah, I would drop either Algier or Braylon Allen. I would probably lean more for Algier because I think Allen has more upside.
Yeah, I think you can drop either one of those guys. And, yeah, I guess Algier only because, Breece is dealing with his knee injury. Maybe they shut him down because they're like, we're out of it. What's the point? So, yeah, I guess Algier. But get Garendo.
Right, because you have a guy who now is the starting running back instead of just a handcuff. So you can drop either Allen or Algier. John wants to know rest of the season, Baker Mayfield, Caleb Williams, or Justin Herbert.
Ooh, interesting. Bucks have such a good schedule. Raiders, Chargers, Cowboys, Panthers. I know he wasn't good yesterday against the Panthers, but I don't know what that was all about. I think I would have to go Baker here.
I agree. I'm going Baker here as well. One thing they mentioned is how pumped the Bucks are about getting Mike Evans to 1,000 yards. And in order to do that, they need to get 100 receiving yards to him pretty much every game rest of the season. So, Baker's going to at least throw it. He's going to be looking Mike Evans' way. I do like Caleb and I do like Herbert, but I think Baker has more upside than either of these two guys.
This one is pretty close, and I think you could get by with any of them, but I'll make it 3, and I'll go Baker as well. Dustin, down by 14, got Sutton and Lutz. Is he good?
You should be good here. I mean, even if Lutz only gets you 5 points, you only need 9, 10 from Sutton. You should be good. Yes.
Yeah, short of a catastrophe or an injury to Sutton, I think you got this in the bag.
Should have it in the bag. Yes. Let's hopefully have this settled by halftime.
Yes.
All right, and then Sir Boomer, he's been here. Here's the question. Needs some help. Here's who is available: Elijah Moore, Valet, Kraft. Would have to drop either Braylon, Tillman, Amari Cooper, who continues to do nothing. Jalen Wright, have to drop somebody if I bring Pacheco off IR, which I think you would want to do. So the questions are who to drop, and then Ingram over Kraft, and do you like, I guess, Moore or Valet better than any of those players?
I will say, first of all, I think you owe Amari Cooper an apology. He did do something. He pitched the ball to Josh Allen for a touchdown.
True. Did he get a passing touchdown for that though? No, he didn't.
I don't think so. I don't think he got anything. I think Josh Allen got a passing and a receiving touchdown for that.
Yeah, that does not make sense. But anyways,
it does not make sense. But somehow Josh Allen got double points for that. Yeah, you could drop Amari Cooper. Come on. Keon Coleman probably coming back next week or pretty soon. Amari Cooper has done nothing. He's going to do nothing. I would drop Cooper. I mean, you could probably drop Jalen Wright too if you really want to, honestly. Even if Achane goes down, what are we expecting from Jalen Wright? Ingram versus Kraft, I don't know. Kraft, another one of these guys. I guess Kraft. He's got Jordan Love, I guess, but he's just gonna be very frustrating.
I was gonna say I'll go backwards here. Ingram versus Kraft. I think Kraft has more touchdown upside than Ingram does. And this is not the time of the year to play scared. You want to play for touchdown upside. You want to upside will win you a championship. So I would take Kraft here. And then, I agree with Chris. Cooper and Wright can probably be dropped at this point. I would drop those guys. I wouldn't drop either one of them for Elijah Moore. I would consider Vele. We're going to get a good look at him tonight. I'm curious to see whether or not he keeps his role going. It looks like he was kind of cemented as the wide receiver 2 on the Broncos last week, and I think we could see that again. But yeah, we won't know for sure until tonight.
Right. I'll say this. I already called Tillman droppable last week. Nothing has changed for that. It's a tough schedule. Judy's emerged. I think you can drop Tillman. I think you can drop Wright. I think you can drop Cooper. The only one I'd say isn't droppable is Braylon Allen. And even so, if you have somebody who's worth picking up or you have to activate Pacheco, it's not like you have to hold Braylon Allen. I mean, you could drop him, but I don't think you need to go crazy here either. So this is interesting. Some leagues don't have a trade deadline. Sarb Erden. Should I trade Nick Westbrook-Akine and Isaiah Pacheco for Drake London? Apparently the person who London wants to give him away. I wouldn't say that's free, but still, you take it.
I wouldn't say it's free, but I think you got to take Drake London here.
Yeah, I definitely want London here. Pacheco, sure, I think he'll roll up and ramp up and be okay. I don't think this past week was the normal Pacheco that we're going to get, although he did look slow on a long run that he had. But yeah, if I'm getting London here, I will definitely take the London side here over Nick Westbrook, Akina, and Pacheco.
Yeah, exactly. You take it. I mean, London is the one Falcon who's been really consistently good in that pass game, despite how bad Kirk Cousins has looked. So, I mean, London got all sorts of targets yesterday. I think Mooney will still be fine. Gotta think they'll get better. But yeah, I'll take Greg London here. Let's see. How about Jay Drummer Kid?
Ooh.
I think Bo Nix can go over 44.
Unless you're in some weird, like 6-point passing touchdown with bonuses, something crazy, probably not, sadly.
Yeah, I even give in a couple leagues I run, I also give points for completions, also negative points for incompletions. 44 from Nix, I just don't see happening here without some sort of super duper long range bonus that Nix would need to nail.
Yeah, don't see it happening here. What about Big Luscious? Back to that waiver wire question: Keenan Allen or Isaac Guerrero? Here's his current roster.
Oh, this is tough.
Did we establish whether or not you need a win this week? Because, yeah, I definitely think you need Guerrero with the state of your running back room. And Hopkins and Thielen filling in for McLaurin on a bye is not ideal, but I definitely think you need more of the focus on your running back room more than your wide receivers.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, at least like D-Hop can probably get you by for a week, or Thielen, I guess, either one. But yeah, I think Guerrero just has too much upside. I think I'm going to go Guerrero.
Yeah, even though Keenan's more likely to make your starting lineup this week because of Terry's bye and Thielen's matchup, I think Guerrero is more important to your roster overall. So unless you need a win this week and you know, are just fighting to make the playoffs, Guerrero's the move. Carl Williams is up by 20. Op has Broncos defense. Should be good.
Should be good. A 20-point defensive game is like a huge. We're talking about a touchdown, a shutout. Yeah, you should be good.
Yeah, just hope we don't see old Jameis throwing for 2 or 3 pick sixes. That'll do it. But yeah, 20 out of a defense is virtually unheard of without that happening.
Yeah, so good luck. And saying you should be close to clinching a playoff spot. That's good. Good to hear. Let's keep it going, Carl. Anthony can't decide if Brees or Aaron Jones will be in targets this week for range day. Yeah, it's hard to decide who was worse. It would help if Aaron Rodgers looked his way. I don't think we can expect that to change. But who should he be more mad at, I guess? Brees or Aaron Jones?
You got to be more mad at Brees. I mean, they were both bad, but at least Aaron Jones scored.
I think we know who Aaron Rodgers is more mad at. Yeah, he definitely would be shooting at Brees as well.
Also, let's not forget, you drafted Brees like as a top 5 pick. You picked Aaron Jones in round like 6 or 7, probably. Like, how mad can you really be at Aaron Jones?
Right. Although this week, Aaron Jones, he did it to himself by fumbling. I mean, that's why he had a bad game, because he took himself out. But yeah, as far as the season goes, it's got to be Brees. We have Stinger, aka Logan, is in the house.
What's up, Logan, aka Stinger?
Oh, G for real. Flexing White versus the Raiders, Dowdle versus the Bengals, or Chubb versus the Steelers.
This is easily Dowdle for me, getting all the touches there. Zeke finally only one touch last week. Thank goodness. Now it's the Bengals. The Bengals, give me Dowdle.
Yeah, Dowdle by a mile for me out of these two guys for sure. White's, I mean, they're the only real path for White is if the Bucks go down or are losing the game, and I don't see that happening with the Raiders. Dowdle is the man in his backfield. He's alone. Zeke's not contributing anything. Don't even talk to me about the rest of the guys. Dalvin Cook, Deuce Vaughn. Yeah, there's nobody here threatening Dowdle's job. Dowdle all the way.
Yeah, Dowdle. And I regret not putting Dowdle on the booms last week. Felt like he was going to have a really good game, and he did. He could have an even bigger week this week. He did mention later Thielen is available on waivers. But this week, it's a tough matchup for Thielen. So just go Dowdle and you'll be good. Okay. Juice, who is still in mourning because of Taysom Hill.
Yes.
Ahead by 38. Opponent has Javonte Williams. It's a little nervous.
Well, Juice, I would like to say you're safe, but I'm definitely nervous for you tonight. I'll be rooting for you, but man, hopefully they do a good job against him in the first half. Because if he erupts in the first half, you might be sweating. We'll see.
There is no way in hell Javonte Williams scores 38 points. It's not happening. Like, if it did, like, legit, I would shave my head live on this stream if that happens.
You know what? Now I might actually root for Javonte Williams to get 38 tonight. Sorry, Juice.
It never goes well when these things when people are like, I'm going to take this burrito and shove it. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't care what it is. Just don't put that out there. But hey, it's out there now, so we can all have something to root for tonight.
It's out there now, but he's not scoring 38.
No, he's not. Oh man. All right, Juice. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We got actually, man, time flies when you're having fun and talking football. Game's gonna start not too long from now, maybe 15 minutes. So if you have any questions for tonight, or you want to know if you're good or if you're cooked, let us know. Try to get to as many questions as we can. And okay, so Cody looks like he has another one. Making a playoff push, an 8-teamer next week is a must-win. Okay. Are you dropping JMO for either Keenan or Thielen? And then is it Rico or is it Garendo?
Well, like I said before, I'm slightly Keenan over Thielen, and I think I gotta be Garendo over Dowdle. I gotta take the running back in the 49ers offense, even though it's not the best version of the 49ers offense we've seen. It's still not the Cowboys offense. So I'll take Garendo and Keenan.
I'm not sure if I necessarily want to drop JMO, especially in an 8-teamer. But then again, honestly, an 8-team, I'm not sure if any of these guys are really worth starting. If I have to pick one,
True.
Thielen, but JMO, I think, has the bigger play upside. If you're in a league that does reward long touchdowns, I might consider him. But I do think Thielen is probably the guy you want rest of the season. And yeah, Garendo over Dowdle easily. Give me the guy. If I'm going to take a running back that may not be relevant without injury, give me the guy who's on the better offense, and that's hands down Garendo. Like, even with this 49ers team looking the way it does, they're not the Cowboys. They're not the Cowboys.
Yeah. I mean, like, I definitely get that. Between Garendo and Dowdle, I would still prefer Garendo. And I don't think that's the case. Look, it's an 8-teamer. You shouldn't really have to start any of these guys. But hypothetically, if you had to start one this week, I might go Dowdle over Garendo. The rest of the season, it's Garendo. If it's just a stash, it's Garendo. Man, a receiver, I think I don't know. It's either Keenan or I'll just go with Jameson. But I think probably Jameson's been good enough. I would just stick with him. Okay, actually, Brother Pickle, apologize. Missed yet another comment, an actual question. Is Nick Westbrook-Akine finally real? I mean, he's definitely a real player. Bad efficiency still, but is he actually decent targets? I mean, this is true. He actually did get more targets than Ridley, and I got to think that smartly the Titans are saying, hey, the teams are just going to give all their attention to Calvin Ridley. Let's throw it to the other guy. But do you think that anything can be remotely sustainable here?
It can be sustainable for the rest of the season. Like we've seen guys do this where they just like we saw like I'll give you the most recent example. Raheem Mostert 2023. Like, yes, it can be this ridiculous touchdown run can be sustainable for the rest of the season. Is he real? I mean, I don't know what you mean by real. Like he still only had 3 catches. Yeah, he had 8 targets, but he still only had 3 catches. So can he continue to score touchdowns? Yes. But is he going to is he real in the sense that he's no longer just touchdown or bust? No, he's still touchdown or bust.
Yeah, just because he has the same amount of targets as a guy like, say, Marvin Harrison Jr., don't go conflating the two with thinking next Westbrook-Akine is anywhere near the level of Marvin Harrison Jr. He'll catch touchdowns when he's the only option out there. The Titans are bad and down big, and Will Levis needs to chuck it. He's not going to be a Ridley replacement. I think he's a fine boomer bust flex. But I think it's inevitable that, sure, Nick Westbrook-Akine himself may be inevitable, but he's eventually going to disappoint, and just don't be caught when he disappoints.
There you go. And I like how you said that. Not a Ridley replacement. Like if hypothetically something should happen to Calvin Ridley and he goes on IR, Nick Westbrook-Akine's role and his target share will probably be exactly the same. Like it's going to be what it is. It's not like, oh, he's going to be the guy. No, that's not going to happen. So he is what he is. He is basically an MVS clone, which MVS still doing MVS things. All right, Jenga. Oh, here's a tricky thing. Talked about Garendo as a top pickup. Talked about Kenneth Walker disappointing. Would you start Garendo over Kenneth Walker this week? Also has Swift.
I don't think Kenneth Walker gets the Cardinals. I mean, one of these days he has to do something. I think I'm still going Kenneth Walker this week.
This is close, but I think unless the 49ers add somebody to their backfield, I think I'm going Garendo here. We've already seen Walker with the Cardinals. It wasn't particularly great. I'm not loving the matchup. The Bears are they're a run funnel defense. You can run on them. I think Garendo is going to have a fairly solid game. My only concern, like I said, is just whether or not he's got any league mates in that backfield. And I definitely wouldn't want to start Swift either. I don't blame you there. And for wide receiver, would you start Keenan Allen, BTJ, or Adams? BTJ if we get the return of T-Law. Otherwise, Keenan Allen.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I thought that Walker Garendo one is really interesting. And like you said, it's just a couple weeks ago, these teams played and Walker didn't do much as a rusher. It was mediocre. He did catch a couple passes and that kind of, bailed him out from having a flop of a game. But man, we need some upside, don't we? I might just roll out Garendo and see what happens. Because the weird thing is we don't know why Kenneth Walker has been so bad. There's no, identifiable reason. They haven't said, oh, he's battling this, or maybe there's. I feel like there's got to be something, right? There's got to be something that's limiting him or making him question, unless he's wearing down. I don't think so.
Is he dust already?
Yeah, never know. It could be, but I would just take a chance on Garendo since he's probably going to get all the touches here. He doesn't have like a Charbonnet getting that touchdown right yesterday because they didn't have the confidence in Walker. Wide receiver here. I mean, I would love to say BTJ, but not with Mac Jones. So let's go Keenan. Okay, let's see. What else? Got time for a couple more. Derek Gonzalez wants to know Njoku or Auden, and Stafford or Kyler.
Let's see. Browns get Steelers next week. Obviously it'll depend on what happens tonight, but right now I probably would say Njoku.
So would I. Auden looks like he's back to being streaming material. Njoku might have better upside, but then again, he hasn't exactly lit the world on fire with Jameis Winston. He's the one guy that really hasn't benefited big from Winston being under center. So yeah, this could be. I could go either way on this. And Stafford or Kyler. Stafford's getting the Bills. I think I'm going Kyler here.
Yeah, I'm definitely going Kyler. Stafford against the Bills? No, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Stafford is a no, and then I'm going to go Njoku as well. All right, Joe Estrada, losing by 10. Opponent has nobody. Can the Broncos defense pull it out? This is always tricky because, again, there is no standardized scoring for DST. Every format is a little bit different, but how would you feel?
Oh, I would feel very nervous. 11 points for a defense, unless you're in like a weird, if you're in some league that gives like huge points to defenses. But if you're in like the regular where you get like what? I think it's like a point for a sack, 2 for a turnover, 6 for a touchdown, and then you lose points when the offense scores because, of course, whoever decided to create fantasy football DSTs thought every defense should just pitch shutouts. But I guess this is probably back in like the 80s or 90s when teams didn't score as many points, so maybe that's why. So I would definitely be nervous because 11 points for a DST is still a very good game. But it is the Broncos, who are a very good defense, and it is Jameis Winston, so could happen.
You're going to need to manifest some pick six energy here, or pick six, I think, is the only realistic way you make this, which, I mean, it could absolutely happen. Broncos have Patrick Surtain, one of the best corners out there, and it's Jameis. We know he can turn the ball over, so... Do I think you have a realistic chance? It's probably not great, but there at least is a path for you.
Yeah, I think there's a definite path. Like you said, this Denver defense has been really good pretty much all season. I could see a couple of picks, maybe a pick six. So don't want to get carried away, but I wouldn't give up hope, Joe. I think you got a decent chance. Now, what about Shekel Alchemist? Up by 4.4 going against Chubb. Any chances he drops a total dud?
I mean, there's a chance. I mean, if you think about it, if Nick Chubb doesn't score a touchdown tonight, which is definitely possible, I mean, there's a world where Nick Chubb only gets 40 yards. I mean, he had 20 carries for 59 yards last game. He's probably going to go over 4.4. I will say my favorite Nick Chubb story of all time, I was in my fantasy football championships, and we were down by, I think, like 30 or 40 points, and it was Deontay Johnson and Najee Harris. Najee Harris's rookie year, and Deontay Johnson was great that year, versus Nick Chubb, and I was like, there is no chance we're going to win because Nick Chubb is going to get like 15 to 20 points. And Nick Chubb got 4 points that game, and we won on the last second Najee Harris touchdown. My favorite Nick Chubb story of all time.
Always good when that happens. Yeah, I mean, it's not unheard of. Like I was going to say, Nick Chubb really hasn't put up like a high rushing numbers game. It's really a matter of, does he score tonight? If he scores, obviously you're losing. If he doesn't score, then you have a fairly solid chance. I mean, 4.that's 44 yards for Nick Chubb. We know he doesn't catch passes all that often, so you've got a chance. You got a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a good chance he drops a dud, but I'd feel a lot better if this was like 6 or 7, maybe 8 points, not 4.4. So we'll, again, got no skin in the game here. We'll be pulling for you too. A huge 40-point game for Cortland Sutton. Let's see what else. 45 for Bo Nix and 4.3 or less for Nick Chubb. Anything else we got on the plate?
Broncos need 11. Broncos defense needs 11.
Broncos, yeah. Okay. All of that's going to happen simultaneously. Basic money. Thoughts on dropping Kirk for AOC?
I'm doing it. I don't want Kirk Cousins in my lineup. I know it's the Vikings. I know it's revenge game for Kirk Cousins, but man, he's been so bad. Aiden O'Connell gets the Bucks. Give me Aiden O'Connell.
Ooh, this honestly for me is close because I do think we see a Cousins revenge game. The Vikings do give up a good amount of points to wide receivers. I think the matchup is good for Cousins, but so O'Connell versus the Bucks, that is juicy. Ooh. You know what? If it's me, I think what I would do is if you've got like 2 or more points penalties for interceptions, I would go with O'Connell. If it's just -1 for interceptions, go Cousins. It's close for me. It's real close.
Yeah, that's fair. I will say the schedule makes me think I'm just going to go with AOC and see what happens. See what happens. I know he's not going to go for over 300 yards every game, but at least he brings you some upside. There's the risk. I don't know how real it is, but you've got to think it's at least possible that they try out the rookie quarterback that they drafted for whatever reason in the first round. I mean, you got to think it's possible. So, Gardner Minshew ain't coming back, that's for sure. So I would do it. And then Doug Fenton looking ahead. Kenneth Walker or Breece Hall in the flex. Let's just assume Breece Hall is healthy and playing.
Oh my gosh, how are we here? We're like Breece Hall's the guy I don't want to play. I don't know. I'm still gambling on Walker. It's close between him and Garendo. Breece Hall third for me, sadly.
Kind of in the same boat. I think I am leaning Garendo by a hair. I was going to say we talked Garendo and Walker earlier. Yeah, I'm still going Garendo there unless like you need steady points and or San Francisco sign somebody. But yeah, Breece against the Dolphins. I'm not loving the matchup. I'm not loving the injury. I think he is a big, big risk this week.
There's definitely risk here. I don't know. If he's good to go and we don't hear any issues during the week in practice, I'm probably still playing Breece and hoping for a bounce back game. But we'll see. This could definitely change by Saturday or Sunday. And then real quick here, just Quincy Davis. Would you drop Pitts or Disley? Well, not for Austin Hooper because the Patriots are on bye this week.
No, and Disley gets the Chiefs, who have been terrible against tight ends.
That's right. Disley, who did nothing, but I have him as a top streaming tight end this week. I think that's something to look out for here. And then Shekel Alchemist, just give him thanks. Thank you. Thank you to everybody for being on here as always. And don't worry, we'll still be streaming throughout the week. Of course, big thanks to Keith for joining us on Monday as always.
Yes, thank you, Keith.
Bringing the knowledge. So check out all the videos that are still coming out. We've got Start Sit for you. Waiver Wire's already out. The Panic video. Have plenty to panic about these days. And don't forget, it's the apocalypse coming up. So you're definitely going to need some help, whether you realize it or not. And don't stop making those pickups, those waiver wire moves, maybe even trades if your league deadline has not passed yet. Like that's how you stay ahead of the game and get ready for the playoffs, by doing the things and paying attention when the others are not. All right. All right, guys. We'll enjoy the Monday night game. Good luck to everybody who needs it tonight. And then we'll see you tomorrow.